All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Jason Leva here with the Fort Worth Community Arts Center. Another Monday is upon us, and we would like to welcome you to our newest edition of our Boxed Lunch series. Today, we have an wonderful guest with us, a jack of all trades, if you will, performance artist, author, all kinds of great stuff, the one and only Angelic Red. How are you doing today, Miss Red?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm excited.
Well, we are so very grateful to have you joining us today on our Boxed Lunch series. Before we get started, would you mind doing us a favor and just introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about who you are and what it is you do?
So I'm Angelic Red. I am the founder of Astria Legends, which is a spiritual fantasy franchise where I do comic books, original cosplays, live performances, crafts, products, all with the hope that it inspires others, empowers others, and teaches some really fun lessons, basically. So it's a
Awesome.
passion project.
Well, from what we've seen, it's coming to fruition for you. And congratulations are in order to you as well. At the Arts Center, we had a Facebook group called Arts at a Distance, and you were our performing artist winner. So congratulations to you. Some wonderful feedback on the Arts at a Distance Facebook group. And I know that we were scheduled to have you at our Fringe this year, and obviously that did not work out quite the way we expected with all of the crazy COVID things going on. But again, I do think it's important that we are able to recognize you as our Arts at a Distance Performing Artist winner. And so congratulations to you. How did you feel about that, putting something out there on the internet and receiving such accolades?
It was great. It's nice to know that other people like what you do, and
Yes,
it
it's
was a surprise to actually win.
nice.
But
So
I loved every minute of it.
I'm curious, what was it that inspired you to submit to the Arts at a Distance?
I've actually worked with the Community Arts Center. I was a part of the Small Works show. I met Marla Owen in person a couple of times. You guys you were doing like a lunch theater event long time ago, but I didn't get a chance to be a part of it. And so when this came up, I was like, ooh, this might be me a chance to finally actually be able to do a performance with you guys. And I jumped on it
Awesome. Well,
because I
uh,
love the Community Arts Center.
well, it's a great place to be, and we're very fortunate to have such wonderful artists in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so hats off to everybody. If you haven't had a chance to check out some of the great submissions for that Art at a Distance group, make sure you check that out on Facebook as well. We'll try to get some links down in the comments to lead people so they can see all of the fabulous artists that submitted some really inspiring and creative work on that Arts at a Distance page. So Miss Red, what is on your lunch menu today? And do you mind telling us a little bit about the ingredients you're using to create it?
So we're gonna do stir fry today because I love stir fry. I love vegetables. I'm big into vegetables. So we have kind of like the fajita style vegetables, have
Ooh.
the onions, the bell peppers, two different kinds of onions, different color bell peppers for color. So we have that. We got some chicken that we're gonna slice on top of it,
Oh,
fresh
wow.
out of the air fryer. And have the rice in here to put on top of, put under the stir fry. And in honor of my mom, she did this thing where she loved putting fruit with meals. So we have Asian pear and plum that's ready to be chopped up and put right
Oh
on the
my
side
goodness
there.
gracious. That looks absolutely delicious. Very nice. I can't wait to see the finished product. I'm going to be going with a taco salad today. So my ingredients are a little bit of chips. I've got some fajita meat here that I'll warm up as well. I've got some refried beans that I'll warm up. And then I've got my lettuce and some tomatoes and a little bit of rice that I will throw in there as well, and see if I can't make somewhat of a decent taco salad for us today. So are you all excited and ready to roll?
Yes.
All right, well, we'll
Right.
get to it and check in on the lunch progress as we move along. Obviously, my first question to you and so many others in these past 7 months and trying times, I was curious if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about how your organization and you personally have been reacting to and affected by this crazy COVID-19 pandemic.
It's definitely been a challenge. As far as Astria Legends goes, this was my year. Every year I have a certain mantra that I go by. And this year it was leveling up. So it was kind of getting outside your comfort zone, doing new things. So I had all of these bigger conventions planned and was trying to be a cosplay guest at these different events. And then the pandemic happened and everything was canceled. So it's kind of like, okay, well, what do I do now? And I took it as sort of a preparation period. So I went back to basics. I have a very supportive online community already. And it was like, well, this is the perfect opportunity to focus on them, focus on the online presence. So I redid my website. I focused on my Discord community, focused on my streaming, and just kind of took a step back and said I had more time to prepare for those bigger things that I want to do.
Nice. Now I'm curious, you say you already had a pretty prominent virtual online presence prior to this, is that correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And do you feel as though you had a leg up on some of the other artists and entertainment community that was trying to kind of pivot into this virtual realm? Or do you feel as though even though you had a virtual presence, you kind of had to realign how that streamed out to the world?
I think I was pretty well prepared. I had already been live streaming a lot. This just gave me opportunity to think outside of the box on other things that I could do to take advantage of the fact that more people are now online and more people, that's where they're looking to actually grow that community. So as far as the tools and experience with online events and things like that, I was fine, but it was more of now work to bring in all these people that hadn't been online all the time and kind of bring them into that community and have things for them to kind of get them into Astria Legends.
And so did other artists, have they reached out to you knowing that you were already kind of involved in that? Have you seen other people following your lead, or maybe even just reaching out to see how you've been successful with that? Has that been something that has opened a door for opportunities for you? Or have you still just found yourself focusing on your work and your presence?
I've had other artists reach out to me more for, well, now I'm looking at my online presence. It's been a lot of more graphics commissions and things like that. Give me what my online presence look like, something that's professional art, kind of helping them align themselves online. Because presence matters. How you actually look online. So I had a lot of
Yes.
that, which was really a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Nice. And have you found that any one of your disciplines has been more focused on? I know you do a lot of stuff in regards to cosplay, comic artist, published author. Is there one or the other that you've found time to focus on, or uh, have found has risen to the top more than the others?
More like, I would say the art always, because art is easy to stream. It's easy for people to follow. I actually started doing online art lessons, private art lessons, which were fun because school was out and like, well, we need something for the little ones to do. Um, and that's always been something that's easy to put online. So I was able to finish the new comic book that was just released. Did a lot of that on stream. Um, Cosplay, the cosplay photography does well, of course, because it's nice to look at. But as far as like performing and things like that, that kind of went down sort of to the bottom, because that's not as easy to just, turn on the camera and there you go.
Sure.
um, that's still an area that I'm working on figuring out, well, how can I mold that into the online presence that I already have.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, it's been really interesting to see all of these artists and groups find their way through all this, and see how they're able to not only create a presence, but also to sustain some of the audience that they've already had. And it's really a challenge not only to open up to new audiences, but also find ways to pull your audiences that have been with you in a different forum onto a new forum for them as well. I know that there have certainly been some challenges to tell people, yeah, we are still around and still doing stuff. We just happen to be over here on the computers doing it. So what are some of the artists and inspirations that you've seen yourself online and through a new virtual presence? Have any artists that you were unaware of come to you through the virtual realm during this pandemic? And have you found new inspiration and motivation as you're moving forward?
Always. I'm always looking online for inspiration. It's always been a part of me. I've met a lot of new DJs. They've kind of turned to more virtual kind of spinning music and things like that. So it's been a lot of new, I actually met a lot of new artists, visual artists throughout this, and, DJs and things like that. Just watching different artists actually have a camera now and showing, okay, this is my process. That's always a lot of inspiration for me, because it makes me like, okay, now I want to go work on my stuff.
So I'm curious. A lot of people are getting their feet under them and transitioning to a virtual presence. Having had one, what do you think is the basic necessity whenever you're moving into that realm? Is it a good camera? Is it a good camera operator? Is it just having quality content? What kind of advice can you give to beginners or organizations that are just stepping into this? What would you say would be some of the more important elements of getting started in that virtual presence?
It's funny you talk about a camera, because for most of my virtual audience, this will probably be the first time they've actually ever seen my face. I never turn my camera on. So really, it's what you're bringing to the table. I feel that everybody has something different, a different spin on things that they put forth. And start small. You don't have to try and do an elaborate setup and get all of the expensive equipment right at the get-go. It's just start small. Start with where you at. Start with what you have, and people will come. And a lot of times people like to see that growth. When you do get that expensive microphone, or you do get that better lighting, people like to see that growth now. And because people like to have bragging rights, they like to say, well, I knew you before you had all this and that, and I remember your very first stream. And I know with my community, they've done that with me a lot. Watch the growth, and it's a lot of don't be discouraged if you don't have a big audience. It's good to have a loyal audience rather than a big one. So it's a lot of start where you are. with who you are. If you want to start trying to do something, do it with a few, and then other people will come after that.
Nice, very nice. Does the majority of your inspiration come from yourself, or does it come from others?
A lot of it comes from others. My inspiration comes from my two biggest ones were anime and Rainbow Bright, because I grew up with
Ah,
Rainbow Bright. So a lot of the color concepts that I have in my story stemmed from watching that as a kid, and then Sailor Moon, because it taught me, oh, you can draw all these cartoon characters and they can actually have deep stories. And that's what it taught me, because before I would write a story and it would be 1 page long. And after that, I was like, okay, I can develop characters and I could do all this fun stuff and still draw my cartoon characters, because, things like Looney Tunes and stuff that I was watching, they didn't have very long stories. So I thought, well, that's how it's supposed to be. And it just opened my eyes that I could do a lot of things, and in the style that I do. And then of course video games are a big inspiration. Role-playing games, the storylines, and how they weave it into gameplay and things like that. So I find inspiration all over the place.
wow, it's so inspiring to hear that sort of stuff. I am, and I may say this wrong. I never realized there was such a character development presence on gameplay. Um, Twitch, is that right?
Yes.
So I've been seeing a lot more of that, and so I'm really curious about how that environment is set up. It's not just about watching someone play a video game. It really is a lot more about this character representation that's actually at the controls. Is that correct?
Yes, it's a lot about the commentary. It's a lot about, um, I know when I'm playing a game, and it's getting that feedback. It's kind of like when you're on stage and you're acting or you're dancing, you're getting that feedback from the audience. You do the same thing with games. You get a lot of feedback from the audience as you're going through these games. And even when I'm doing art, you get a lot of that feedback. And it's not even more, a lot of the people have already seen the game a million times, but everybody plays it different. Everybody's gonna have different reactions to it, and it's that back and forth, that call and response, that it's so much fun. It's so much
It
fun.
really is quite amazing. I just did not see the concept of how much of a performance venue that really is. I mean, it's
Yes.
really quite amazing. So, do you have a specific cosplay character uh, that you use consistently, or are a lot of your cosplays different based on what format or venue that you're engaged with at the moment?
So Angelic Empyress, which is my Facebook fan and what the name that everybody knows. Most people don't know that that's a character from the story. She hasn't been officially announced, and if I said what her nickname is, everybody would be like, "Oh, that's really her." And so I'm not going to say that, but she is basically my alter ego. Her and Red, of course, Angelic Red, are my signatures. So when I go out in public, I'm normally red with the full garb, but I do have other characters that I cosplay depending on the event. Each one of my characters they represent the color that they stand for. And so in that they symbolize different things. So depending on the message that I want to convey, I do that character. So if I'm talking about following your dreams, I do my black and white character, which represents equality and everybody can go for their dreams and that sort of thing. If I'm talking about loving yourself, taking time for yourself, and you're important, then I do red, because that's kind of what she symbolizes, being the angel of love. So I do it based on the messages that I'm trying to convey. And it's nice because my wonderful team of voice actors, they give life to their adversaries, which are things like fear and doubt and jealousy and things like that. So the call and response that I get for cosplay, especially when I do those live performances. That call and response in character really helps people see, oh, that's really what this character stands for. That's what she's fighting for, and things like doubt and fear. And when you're hearing that talking back, it's like, oh, that's what I go through. I hear those voices all the time, and now I'm seeing somebody stand up to them and say,
Sure.
no, you can conquer them, and it's amazing.
So, so what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Do you see the emotion or the content that you're trying to discuss and reach to, or do you create the character first and then see what they fit into in terms of messaging that you might be trying to address?
Characters come first. The characters are the easy part. Like I said, because they symbolize the colors. It's basically whatever that color stands for. If it's intelligence, okay, now I know the type of thing I need to convey with this one. Um, all different things. So the character comes first, and then the messaging comes afterwards. Okay, how can I use this character and her quirkiness? You know, how is she different from the other ones when it comes to how she acts and her personality, and how best to convey the messages with that character.
Wow, it's just so interesting. So speaking of creation, um, how's your lunch coming there? And do you mind just talking us through a little bit of how you prepare that and get to the final presentation there?
Yes. So we are going to put a bed of rice on the plate first because we want a lot of rice down there. And I have to fix two plates. So we're gonna have two presentations. Drop rice all over the place.
Looking good. While you're doing yours there, I start with, oh, already pretty.
Yes.
I
We're
start with a
gonna
little bit of
lay.
chip crushing into my bowl. So that's my first step there. Most of mine today is just mix and match, so it's not too hard on the setup there.
Mine is just not letting it tumble off the plate onto the table and getting it on the plate where it's supposed to go. But yeah, I used a lot of the mini bell peppers, the little sweet ones. Those are always really, really good.
Oh, I agree. I love the spice. Everybody makes fun of me because everything I make on boxed lunch, they said, will give you heartburn.
I've always had a thing for vegetables. My mom always told me when I was little, I would eat all of my vegetables raw. She's like, I could give you a potato, I could give you an onion, you would just eat it raw. And I'm like, why would you let me do that? But I grew up and it never left me. I still love my vegetables.
Nice. Well, that's a good trait to have. I don't think there's any downside to that at all. So, um, okay. So while you're moving through there and creating your lunch there, can you tell me a little bit about what have you learned about yourself or even your organization during this trying time?
That I have a lot of support around me. I think more than I originally realized, especially with the way this year has went so far. Um, that I have a lot of support, and learning that I can do more than I thought. Um, like I said, reaching outside of the box. I had planned this year is Astria Legends 10-year anniversary.
Oh, wow.
So on October 1st, I was like, I'm gonna have this big event and I'm gonna do all these things. And then the pandemic, and it's like, well, I don't want to wait till next year to do it because then it's 11. And it's like, what can I do in this space? And it's thinking outside of that. Well, maybe I can do, something a little bit different and still celebrate and, bring in people that normally, if I did a local event, couldn't come because they were in all these different states or, overseas. And it's like, well, my support has been online. let me celebrate with that community that's already been there with me and find a way to do it where everybody can be a part of it. So I think that was the biggest thing is being able to think outside of the box and believe in myself that yes, you can do other things and um, try new things and experiment a little bit more, because that's what everybody's doing right now. Everybody's experimenting. And it feels like, oh yeah, if you want to try something new, this is the perfect time to do it.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know if you had a chance to check out any of the Emmys, but it looked like uh, the groups are starting to figure it out a little bit, and I know that there's been a few award shows lately where a lot of the power players in the industry are struggling as well. And I think it was the American Country Music Awards were on week before last. We had the Emmys this last weekend, and it's been really, really interesting to see the growth of these presentations and how people are starting to figure this stuff out and really kind of bring some showmanship, if you will, to the virtual realms of not having live audiences and things like that as well. So on your 10th year birthday anniversary, do you have a specific October date set? Will it be the whole month? How can we celebrate with you online?
We're going to do the whole month. It kicks off on October 1st. I stream on Thursdays and Saturdays. So every Thursday and Saturday for the month of October, we'll be doing a little bit of something to start off the stream. We'll do some contests. We're going to do a community character creation. It's going to be a lot of things that, I want the community together. They're going to be voting. So all of the contests is going to be community voting. But yeah, the first will be the kickoff. That October 1st at 8 p.m. We'll kick it off. And then every Thursday and Saturday for the entire month is going to be a new event going on my Twitch. So it'll be a live Twitch stream.
Very exciting. Now we'll come back to this a couple of times to make sure that people are able to find you. Where is this particular celebration happening? Can you give us a web address or a place where we can locate you if we want to come on and celebrate with you or just check you out?
It'll be twitch.tv/Angelic Empyress, and I'll put that in the chat.
Awesome.
That's where we're going to have the celebration. And it's going to be so much fun. I'll be giving away my comic book. I'll be giving away some magazines that I've been recently featured as a cosplayer in. So all different things. We're gonna have some fun.
Very nice. That sounds very exciting. October is far and away one of my favorite months of the year, and I know that a lot of people feel that same way. And I am always tickled when people said, "Oh, this will never get into my my Halloween month," and now, of course, people are like, "Okay." So,
yes. What are we gonna do now?
oh my goodness, it's been quite interesting to see how people have adapted, pivoted, all of these great new catchphrases that are coming through the pipeline. So I'm glad you've got an opportunity to continue to celebrate your hard work and get that message out and continue to grow that audience. So, all right, I've got my chips and my refried beans in the bowl. I'm going to start with my vegetables now, toss them in. How are you coming there on your lunch?
Just finished chopping up the chicken. We're adding that to our presentation.
Now, don't give it away just yet. I've still got a few more questions for you, and then we'll do our final presentation here as we start to wrap things up. So that's one of my favorite parts of box lunch, is seeing that end result and what people make. So I used to think I was a cook till I had to cook, and then I realized I'm probably more of a preparer than a chef, I'd say. So, so Miss Red, how do you see the arts adapting now that we're starting to move forward with smaller live audiences, virtual programs? Where do you see the arts heading over the course of at least the next year, if not on into the future?
I feel like the arts is going to continue to evolve. Um, One thing about artists is that we're very resilient. We don't let stumbling blocks, we don't let anything stop us. If there's a roadblock in the way, we find another direction that we can go in. And honestly, I could see the arts pairing their live events with virtual ones now, you know. Well, now with the pandemic, you're getting a lot of a virtual audience that's wondering, well, when everything goes back to normal, the virtual events are going to go away. You know, that's in the back of the mind. But now that you have that audience, it's like, okay, let's pair our live events with our virtual ones and just keep those audience going and growing and figuring out more ways to include people that can't be local now. And I think that's been a good positive, because a lot of times people that aren't local miss out on a lot of the things that go on. And now that we're opening the doors for those virtual events and virtual, virtual opportunities, being able to pair that with the local will just make the arts a lot more accessible.
Yes, absolutely. I think that again, people are really starting to understand that this may be a while, and I know that a lot of groups have been hesitant to approach the virtual online kind of presence with an idea that we would get back to live events a little sooner than we currently are. So I know a lot of people that might have been a little hesitant at the beginning of this certainly seem to be a little more invested in trying to find ways to get out there and get engaged and get involved as well. So I think it's going to be a great tool moving forward. And when things do normalize a bit, I think they're going to find that this is an asset to arts to be able to reach a broader audience and then get people back in-house as well. So it's been really inspiring to see new communities, new artists that I'm really not sure I would have had the good fortune to find had we not gone into this. So there is a bit of a silver lining in it, I guess, in terms of growing our audiences and widening the awareness of what we consider to be local or community. There's been some wonderful people right here in Fort Worth. I had no idea they were here. And so it's certainly been an asset to find some of that online presence and continue to explore this great artistic community. So
Yeah, I like that people are not as scared of it anymore. Scared of doing things online and venturing out into that digital realm. So that's
yeah,
really good.
absolutely. So I'm curious, what's your biggest self-indulgence that you're looking forward to once things normalize and we get back out into the world? Is there something in particular that you just can't wait to binge on other than Netflix?
So I am very big on, like I said, I'm big in games and things like that, and I have a collection of stuffed animals. And one of the things that I love doing was going to like main event in the arcades and trying out the claw machines and things like that, and just going playing games all day and being out in that kind of community. And I cannot wait to be able to go back to that and just get out and kind of like those carnival games and things like that, and
Sure.
just go with it.
Now, do you have a favorite arcade that you visit? Is there an arcade you'd like to give a shout out to in the community?
Well, definitely main event and round one. Those are the two that I love going to. Very, very, so much fun, so much fun, and I
And what's your
cannot wait to
what's your
go back.
favorite game?
Skee ball. I
Nice.
love. I'm really good at skee ball, and then it was like Fruit Ninja, like with the big screen. Those are fun. Yes,
What
cannot.
what's your record high score on skeet ball?
Is it like 45,000, something like that?
Woo! That's pretty good. Not bad at all. All right. So how's that lunch coming there? I see that your hands have quietened down there a little bit. So how you coming there?
So we have our plate with our
Woo!
stir fry, the chicken, and then the fruit on the side.
Oh my goodness gracious, that looks absolutely delicious. So I'm curious, do you have any special ingredients or any special tips or tricks to ensure deliciousness?
For the stir fry, it's all about the order you put your vegetables in. So you always start with the things that are cooked the longest, and then add your newer vegetables as you cook it through. So for this, the onions always go last because they don't take very long. But like the thick bell peppers, those went in first, and season it throughout. Don't drown the vegetables in stir fry sauce or anything like that. You only need a little bit to make it nice, and that's my best tip.
Nice. So mine for taco salads, people always tend to put dressing on it, but I like to just go with the taco salad with the nice with the hot sauce. So I use the green and red sauce and let go of that ranch dressing on a taco salad. Just go ahead and go with the spicy goodness of some good salsa, picante sauce, some pico, any of that, and that's a great little tip to enhance your taco salad. So, all right. So I'm going to start mixing up some of my stuff. I was curious if you'd advise us on what's become your favorite stay-at-home quarantine activity at your house. Have you found something in particular to keep you occupied, or that maybe you've grown very, very fond of during all this that you didn't do before?
Not that I didn't do before. If the camera was wider, you'd see a lot of tables with a lot of unfinished projects on them. So, uh, unfortunately, well, fortunately, I never. I have another job, so I was an essential worker, so I never stopped. So I never had that extra free time that other people were enjoying. So throughout this time, I've just been able to say, pick one project and actually focus on it, do it, complete it. I think the biggest thing that I've been able to do is uh, tell myself, well, now you have a lot more time to make things even better.
Right.
Talking about like the performance is, well, you have a lot more time to make that performance a lot better, a lot more time to practice and prep and prepare. And that's really what I've been doing um, in this time, is just trying new things, experimenting, and taking my time to make whatever I do put my time to, make it the best that I can.
Gotcha, gotcha. And so I'm curious, what helpful community resources are you seeing or using personally, and how can your organization be assisted or provide assistance to other artists or organizations?
So the organizations that have helped me the most are really just other artists that are wading in this water together. I found that a lot of artists are more open to um, doing collaborations in this time. So that's been a lot of fun. Um, doing uh, live events together, co-streaming, trying different things like that. As far as Astria Legends, we provide services. We do a lot of graphics. So I've done a lot of new logos in this time span. People wanting to redefine how their online presence looks. I a lot of emotes for streaming, banners, things like that. As far as cosplay and performance, I have a lot more volunteer voice actors, which I give them a lot of thanks. They they give my characters a life that I can't do because I only have one voice. Um, I found a lot more people who are willing to help me with things like music, and it's a lot more of a community effort where artists are more open to sharing their talents and collaborating. You know, I do something for your project, you do something for mine, and just kind of sharing the talent, because everybody has things that they do better than others, and just being able to share that. And like I said, always willing to do that for other organizations, collaborating. That's really, in this time, that's really what I'm looking for most, is just ways to collaborate with other people. And now that we have this virtual opportunity to, do things that you normally couldn't, it's like I want to get out there and do collaboration with people in other states and overseas, and things that I wouldn't normally be able to do. So
Nice.
that's really where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I mean that's how we're going to get through all this for sure. Is just helping each other out, and that support across the board is essential for the arts in today's America for sure. So sounds like there are some wonderful assets that you have there. So this is probably the most important question of the entire interview. How do we find you and keep up with all of your work, and also be able to possibly reach out for some of those opportunities with you as well? So how do we find you? Where are you at? And how can we get in touch with you?
So the main site is astrialegends.com. That covers everything. There's also angelic-empress.com for just the cosplay kind of side of the house. I'll post the link to my Discord. I am always in Discord. Anybody posts a message in there, I will see it. So I'll post a link to that if people want to join that. It's also Discord has been one of the best tools that I've found for virtual communities, and just making a community look and feel however you want it to. It's where you have your own server and your own community. You put your own roles in there, your own channels and things like that. So it's been really a really good way to have something that personalized to me. So I'm always in there. So I'll post that. So those three places are the best ways to get in touch with me.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we wish you continued success for sure. And again, can't wait to see you in person at the Arts Center, and
Yes, I'm
check
looking
out
forward to that.
your live performance show as well. So, um, any tips or tricks on how to help us all stay sane mentally and/or physically?
Basically, find something that you love and just dive into it. If there was ever a time to dive into a passion project, or something that you've like, well, if I ever had time to do it, I'll get around to it. Dive into it now. Just get into your passion project, something that you really, really love to do, and you learn a lot more about yourself in the process. You find that you aren't quite alone and isolated when you're deep in something that you love to do. And that's what I found throughout everything, throughout my mom being in the hospital, throughout all the uncertainty. It was just like, when I get into my drawing, or I get into my performances, or the things that I really love to do, it's an outlet. And you don't find that kind of outlet just doing anything. It's got to be something that you just love, that you're passionate about, and just dig right into it and do it.
Yeah, I think you stated it best with your mantra, and it's certainly something that I'm going to hold on to this week, and hopefully beyond that, and leveling up mentally, physically, professionally, personally. All of us should really lean into that, and certainly do all we can. All right. Well, I've got my taco salad all mixed up. Do you mind if I get one more look at your lunch there, just to admire how pretty that looks, and those wonderful, wonderful vegetables? Very nice, very nice. So I scooped mine all up. Mine's never as pretty as the people that I have with me, but I've got the tomatoes, the rice, the lettuce, the meat, the chips, the refried beans, and of course that wonderful picante sauce. So
Still looks delicious.
I'm hoping it's pretty good. So, Angelic Red, the one and only, we are so grateful to have you. I can't thank you enough for taking the time. Any other final thoughts or words of wisdom for the community out there?
Just love each other. Be supportive of each other. Tell people they're important. You never know. Everybody needs an encouraging word.
Now more than ever, for sure. Words of wisdom. All right, well, that wraps up another episode of Box Lunch. Angelic Red, this is where we lift our plates and toast to all the wonderful people out there. We'll be back next Monday with another episode of Box Lunch. We thank you guys always for your support. Please be kind to each other, be kind to yourselves, and bon appetit, everyone. We'll see you again real soon. Make sure you like us on Facebook, Instagram. Check us out on YouTube, Fort Worth Community Arts Center. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.